DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS live stream here. We are breaking down today's 11-game main slate. It's on a Tuesday, James. Always one of the biggest slates of the week. Yesterday, page turner, right? Put it behind us. Spencer Strider having his worst start of the year. That happens, right? Sometimes Great pitchers have bad outings. You know, we unfortunately were in on Strider against the Pirates. The Pirates have not done it to us twice because they did it to us against Yu Darvish that time as well. So, you know what? Shake it off. Get back to it here and looking at this 11-game slate where there are some more great pitching matchups for us to take advantage of. We got the Prince in chat. We got Mark in chat already. Happy to have you guys with us here today. Should be a good one to break down, my man.
Yeah, there's "Shake It Off" is a perfect segue into today's slate, John. I've heard some famous songs include "Shake It Off," like
I would play it, but we'd get copyrighted and then shut down. So
"Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture," like the Outkast, and there's
Taylor Swift "Shake It Off" song.
Yeah, "Shake It Off," "Shake It Off." Yeah.
I know. If I played it, we would get banned. So
Well, if they can shake it off and expand exponentially because they put that music out, we can shake it off. And
you
now
should
we can
record Taylor Swift's version of "Shake It Off" and label it Grande's version. I think you can get away with that because she's re-recording all of her own songs.
Sure, this is very true. So, also, my wife would love that because I got a text at about 1 a.m. last night from my wife who was in the same bed as me saying, "Wow, I love Taylor Swift."
Right.
Word for word, just at 1 a.m. Wow, I love Taylor Swift. And then, I got the explanation of why, but that was the first text that she texted.
Yeah, whatever. What is she on now? Like the Never Tour or something like that? I don't know. Whatever it's called.
Never. No, yeah, it can't be Never.
I don't know.
It's the Always Tour because that's all I've ever seen.
I don't know. But anyways, Mark in here. If you sing again, he'll thumbs up. That's great. I'll thumbs up if you never sing again. Is what he says.
That's awful.
Kind of hurtful. A little hurtful there.
For someone who wants an NHL podcast on this network,
hockey's right around the corner.
I
expect some preseason hockey takes coming from my guy Mark here soon enough. Anybody's tuning in here, remember, go to rtsports.com. If you haven't yet already signed up, use promo code ALARM23 when you go to rtsports.com/alarm. You got 100% deposit match up to $200 there. Howard Bender had your RT Sports DFS pick and plays of the day. Go over to our YouTube channel, which hopefully you're already tuning into anyways to watch us here for today's show. If you're new to the show, like and subscribe. We appreciate you much. But you can check out Howard's plays over on the YouTube today. See what he has in store for everybody. Again, rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23 will get you 100% deposit match up to $200 there today. James, let's go in. Let's break down today's slate, and we'll talk about a little Vegas odds here for everybody today. Let's see what we got going on here over with Vegas today, James.
Yeah, as you can see, nice little graphic that John put together today. Nothing like significantly noteworthy, like 10 implied runs. The live total for Atlanta Pittsburgh is interesting. Not even Framber Valdez coming off a no-hitter is a big favorite. That's because he's number one team in the American League East. Wade Miley minus 225 against the Colorado Rockies. 9 implied runs in LA, San Francisco. That's about a pick 'em. And then the biggest favorite on the board, Max Scherzer. That total has actually gone down from 8 to 7.5, which I find a little interesting. Not because I didn't expect it to, but I just kind of expected probably a little more with Texas facing JP Sears. And I know they didn't look great against Waldichuk last night. They were fine, 5 runs, and we already had a comment on from the Prince. Texas let him down by taking Garver out, who had 3 hits, and then they took him out of the game. So, yeah, a little disappointing. Not a lot to love on the Vegas front. So, I mean, the Boston total, obviously 10 implied runs, but like, even that's interesting because, it took a walk-off grand slam to like get there last night.
Right.
And Brady Singer's coming off his best 3-start stretch of his season. And, but I don't know, a lot of intrigue here and not a lot of intrigue, even though this graphic is beautiful. Not a lot of
Right.
not a lot of intrigue in the graphic, like graphics great.
Shout out the covers there for the odds. Give them a little site credit for letting us create a little things. So you guys can visualize what we're talking about here. I unfortunately, my technically wise, I don't see the graphic, James. So you let me know if it's showing anymore, and we can move on over to the DraftKings slate here. We can.
No, let's go to draft. Let's go to DK. We're good.
Alrighty. All right. We at it.
Yeah.
Talk a little starting pitching here for tonight's slate here. At the top, we have Framber Valdez, Max Scherzer, top two guys over 10K. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, the cover of our show tonight, John, was who? Max Scherzer.
Yeah,
and he is going to be like, and it's an 11-game slate, and it's not even close. He's 2.5x the ownership anyone else is. He's 52% projected rostership tonight. And that's just the world that we're going to live in.
Right.
I mean, Framber doesn't have the easiest spot. You talked about it on the podcast this morning. Like, nobody plays low-owned Orioles more when they're facing a lefty than you. So, like, they're good against lefty.
If you're telling me that the O's are 1% again, I may take a shot at it,
We'll get there. But okay. Scherzer is 52%. The next highest rostered pitcher is 21.8%, and that's Wade Miley, and we'll get to him in a little bit. But it's Scherzer, and then it's the field. If you do want to play Framber, we've seen Framber on a couple occasions this year at really low ownership just dominate the slate. So,
until last start, he was getting hammered by everybody. Texas, Oakland, the Angels hung 11 runs on him in 3 starts. He had 4 to the St. Louis. Seattle got him. He wasn't no-hitter Framber until just recently. So that's why I'm kind of maybe a little more bullish again on Baltimore here tonight as a play. See if Framber's actually turned it around, or if that was just Cleveland's the worst hitting team in baseball right now. So, like, one of the reasons I like Yusei Kikuchi a lot tonight is the fact that against left-handed pitching, Cleveland this last 30 days and the last 14 days, dead last in batting average, dead last in WOBA, no ISO to speak of. They're not striking out again. They still aren't striking out against anybody, but they're not getting on base. So big reason I like Kikuchi in the mid-tier tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so like the Framber thing, just before we move on to Kikuchi, sure. I think I understand he hadn't been pitching great, and you and I were out on him in the Cleveland start. But also 2 years worth of data versus 5-start sample is probably more fair of a sample, the former than the latter. So,
yep.
I'd be willing. Again, he's not going to pitch a no-hitter every time out. Probably, who knows if he ever does it again. It's obviously such a rare accomplishment. But, before that stretch, he'd been amazing. He was maybe in the contention for Cy Young. And then he hit a rut and was pitching poorly. So I'm okay with a low-owned Framber, but obviously Baltimore's offense is scary. And when you talk about a $200 difference against getting a guy who, let's face it, gets Oakland, it's a no contest. And that's where the ownership is baked in too, where it's a no contest and Scherzer's 5x the ownership. I don't really know where else I'd like to go at the top. We talked about the Urias limit.
Yeah.
And just seemingly, and I think the field is scared of it too. I'm going to probably stay away, knowing that we just don't know what it's going to be. We don't know if there's a pitch cap. We don't know. I am interested in your take on this. Logan Gilbert and Lucas Giolito both getting relatively solid ownership here. I don't think I have much interest in either guy. I would obviously be more likely to play Gilbert at 8,700, but even his ceiling has been super capped lately.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that I would agree with you. I'd be more likely to play Gilbert against San Diego, but I've already said it. Like Kikuchi is where
Right.
I would rather go here at 82. That's Cutter Crawford. He's fine too, but I like Kikuchi here a little bit more. Back-to-back starts, a quality start, 6 innings, 1 earned. Strikeouts are definitely going to be tough to come by here for Cleveland. That's certainly a little bit of a concern, but I think Toronto should be able to do enough to get him in position for a win. So, I mean, he gave you 17 fantasy points with 3 strikeouts and an earned run against Baltimore the last time out for him here. He is a decent strikeout guy. So, like, maybe he gets 4 or 5 tonight against Cleveland and, it kind of gives you a ceiling-ish type game for Cleveland standards and strikeouts. So, for me, I've plugged in a lot of Kikuchi and builds here today. At $8,200. I did the PrizePicks prop play today. This is where like things get a little scary for us sometimes. His prop was only 29.5. So like that's low. So, but I think he can go over and we'll find out.
So like a few things that are definitely trending in the right direction for him are that he's had tough matchup after tough matchup, and he's been really good. I mean, one earned run or less in 4 straight starts, including back-to-back starts against Baltimore and the Dodgers, and he's beat both of them. And you mentioned it, Cleveland doesn't strike out. It is actually insane that they have like one of the highest plate appearance samples since the All-Star break, John.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still a 16% strikeout rate, which is the lowest in the league. But he's getting deeper into games. 91 and 103 pitches. He's thrown 6 innings in each of the last few starts. And he's shredding a lot of runners. I mean, 6-7 hits in the last 2 games, and he's still only allowed 1 earned. Obviously, the home run ball is what's bit him in the past, and he's cut down on that. No home runs in 4 straight starts. So, yeah, I really like Kikuchi. And, the field isn't really getting there, and that's kind of I kind of like it.
I mean, that's where I'm at it. Mark brings up a question about Clark Schmidt. I know we talked about him on the show this morning. You liked him. We were laughing that Cole's strikeout prop was only 7 yesterday, and he chalks up 3 against the White Sox. Super frustrating there. Does Clark Schmidt come through tonight against the White Sox, unlike Cole last night?
I mean, if Schmidt has the Cole start minus the 8th inning, where they shouldn't send him back out there, and Aaron Boone again was terrible.
The umpire was also the worst umpire of all time as well in that game. So
I mean that was a dreadful performance. Laz Diaz, I think.
Yeah, it was Laz Diaz. Yeah, he had the lowest rated correct call game of the year. Worse than Angel Hernandez did 2 days ago. Laz Diaz. So
they said, hey, anything you could do, I could do worse.
Basically, yeah.
Where's Matt Sells when we need a robot umpire?
Tweet, yeah. I think he sent one out already.
I'm sure. And I'll probably Facebook post about it too. Yeah, I mean, I like Clark Schmidt here. I think it was obviously a little discouraging to see Garrett Cole with the number of strikeouts he had last night, because it was a really good start until the 8th inning. 2 earned through 7 and 3 strikeouts. If we got that start at Clark Schmidt at 7,100, I'd be good,
not 11K, right? But 71.
Yeah, the 11K is obviously frustrating. Now, on the flip side, I think we thought that Yankees would get to Dylan Cease last night. They had walked 7 times against Dylan Cease, but they didn't score against him. I think they have a little easier time scoring against Touki Toussaint. I think there's a little better win equity here for Clark Schmidt, even though you probably should win games when Garrett Cole has a 2-1 allowed 2 runs through 7 innings. You should probably win those games. The White Sox still have a 24% strikeout rate since the break against Rays. It's still the 9th highest mark in baseball. So, one-off situation where Cole isn't striking guys out doesn't scare me off the Schmidt strikeouts or the Schmidt upside, because like Garrett Cole, Clark Schmidt has been a decent strikeout arm, 103 and 109 innings. Like, he's been almost at a strikeout per inning all year long. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he's a pretty good value at $7,100. But you mentioned everybody's getting onto Wade Miley. I mean, what are we doing here? Last night, obviously, Freddie Peralta came through big time. I was skeptical. He had some blowout games, and last night was not that. Big double-digit strikeout game, shut down Colorado. Does Wade Miley, who's not a strikeout guy like Peralta is, come through at 7K? You mentioned a lot of people are in on him tonight, probably for that reason, right?
yeah, I mean, since the All-Star break, Colorado has a 31.1% strikeout rate. That is a 1.2% higher than any other team in baseball. The problem is he doesn't miss bats, and he's made one start since almost a month absence, and he threw 60 pitches in that start. So at 7K, what is Wade Miley's ceiling for pitch count? I mean, it was an elbow issue. It wasn't like a knee. It wasn't a toe. There's clearly a limit, right? So people aren't playing, and I get it because it's different prices. People aren't playing Julio Urias tonight because they don't know what he's gonna throw, right? In terms of pitches, and I understand he's 9,100, but we don't know what Wade Miley's gonna throw. What if he throws 65 pitches and there's any form of trouble for Wade Miley and he's throwing 65, 70 pitches? He's done. He's toast.
All right.
This is a situation I'm a little on the fence about. I completely understand the numbers. The strikeout number for Colorado is the worst in baseball since the break against left-handed pitching. I get it. But if any issue arises for Wade Miley and there is a pitch cap, I'm just not confident we're going to get there because I don't think that he has I get it, 5 and 8 strikeouts in the last 2 starts. Great. He's made 14 starts this year and has twice topped 5 strikeouts, right? So, which Wade Miley is more likely to show up? The one that gets 8 strikeouts or the one that has 3 strikeouts? It's a tough sell, especially when there's going to likely be a limit.
Sure. Our guy Ryan here. Why do I like Jameson Taillon tonight? James, why does he like Jameson Taillon tonight?
I mean, we talked about it last night. He's actually been probably in the midst of the best stretch of his season. Right. The home run ball has clearly gone down. He allowed a boatload of home runs early, and then you look at his last 5 starts, he's allowed 2 in his last 5. So, 13 in his first 14 starts, he allowed 13 home runs. He's clearly cut down on the home run ball. He's struggled only against lefties. And you look at tonight's Mets lineup, let's see, Lindor, Nimmo, McNeil, they're playing Narvaez, Vogelbach. So they actually have a lot of lefties tonight, but
not good ones.
Ortega, Vogelbach, Almonte, Narvaez is their back half of the lineup. Right. All left-handed bats. I like Taillon.
You look at Taillon with home road splits too, right? Been hammered in his home ballpark, but 4.2 on the road, not terrible. 200 batting average against on the road this year. So get him out of those Chicago wins, right? And he's in a better spot.
Yeah, and the Mets since the All-Star break, 19th in OPS and 18th in WOBA against right-handed pitching. Right. So still below league average.
Let's move on over now to the catcher position here and talk about some of our favorite catchers here for this evening. Guys at the top, obviously, you have Smith, Rutschman, Contreras, Raleigh, d'Arnaud starting here tonight. Diaz against Miley. Any of these top end guys interest you at all?
Contreras is interesting. He's been really good against left-handed pitching this year. He's been really good at just in general lately. 349 average, back-to-back multi-hit games, a lot of multi-hit games lately in general. I would say William Contreras is probably the top play here. Definitely can get to the rest of these guys around him.
I think d'Arnaud interests me a lot because you're again, we're just going up against Keller. I know that he has struggled But again, hitting in the middle of that lineup, and Keller's been so bad. The catcher in the Braves often goes overlooked in that stack.
Yes.
So you could get, if d'Arnaud comes through here, a low rostered bat against Keller tonight.
Yeah, and he's probably like legitimately the lowest priced Brave.
Yeah.
Like not actually, but 4,500 for a Brave is a steal at this point, John.
Yeah. So I think there's some interest for him as well. Then we go to the value group. I mean, Garver's there at 34. Yanier Diaz has a righty and Grayson Rodriguez. I know we kind of talked about it at the end of the show this morning, but like we didn't talk a lot about Houston, but we didn't talk much about Grayson Rodriguez either. Where do you sit on what side of the fence there? Are you for the Houston bats? Is it a situation that you're just fading altogether, or what are your thoughts?
I definitely like the lefties more. Grayson Rodriguez has had a lot more issue with lefty bats. 292 ISO allowed, 418 WOBA allowed, which are really bad. So I would rather play the lefties. We know Yanier Diaz is good against right-handed pitching, so you could definitely play him if you wanted to. It also correlates perfectly. The Astros finally were like, hey, let's move Jeremy Pena down and bat, our best players in order.
Right.
So Jordan Tucker hitting 3-4, Diaz hitting 5th. So that could be a nice stack if you wanted to play 3, 4, 5, or if you wanted to one-off Diaz, or that's fine too.
Sure. Where are you going then at catcher today? What's your one guy?
It's probably Endy. Is he in the lineup for Pittsburgh? He's not. Jason DeLay is. That sucks. That was a delay. That was a delayed response by me. I like Danny Jansen again if I'm going anywhere in this like value tier. He got on base twice yesterday, got hit by a pitch and walked. He's just been pretty consistent, and the one thing he has been consistent about lately, especially, has been the power. Tanner Bybee, where he struggles most has been against right-handed bats. Right. 185 ISO, 333 WOBA. Danny Jansen, John, is now the team leader in ISO for Toronto, 230. He leads that team that includes Vladimir Guerrero and George Springer and Dalton Varsho and like Danny Jansen just sitting there. Yeah, like sitting there with the team lead in ISO. Okay. So I like Danny Jansen quite a bit.
Connor Wong just officially starting. We just got that lineup. $2,300 against Singer. He did have a double and an RBI last night. I think maybe he's spinning out of it. Righties at home for Connor Wong. Could be a punt play there at the catcher spot. Ryan wants to know, the Dodgers going overlooked tonight. Dodgers have their matchup against Fott. I don't think they're going overlooked for me. I do like them. It's just that I don't know, but Will Smith is the spot I'm looking to go. And then DePrince wants to know about Carson Kelly. Any interest for him against Urias here tonight?
Yeah, he looked good the other day with a lefty on the mound. He's looked a little better of late. Sure. In that Minnesota game, that was the Dallas Keuchel start. They stole like 12 bases on Dallas Keuchel. Like they were running wild on him. McCarthy had 2. Carroll had 1. When like Carson Kelly is stealing bases, like that's when you're not able to hold runners on. I know he's historically been good against lefties. He's fine, 2,600.
We do have a Brewers lineup. Carantini playing tonight. Contreras is DHing. So
like them both. You can play either.
I'm trying to find the Carantini price, $2,700 tonight. So
yeah, you could play either because Carantini's switch hitter and Contreras has been elite against left-handed pitching. I'm gonna I'll pull the numbers up for us here. 291 ISO leads the team. 431 WOBA leads the team. Carantini. Let's see how Carantini has been against lefties. 339 WOBA, so he's been pretty good too. So you could play either of those guys.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Any other catchers? I would say to Prince, you play on FanDuel. I mean, there's rare instances where you're playing a catcher on FanDuel. At this point, if it's complete a stack or like you needed the money, like that's fine. But I don't see a reason to play Kelly here tonight. And then our guy Taco had a big weekend. Congrats to you, sir. Let's see if we can get you another successful caching here tonight. Let's move on over to first base. Talk about some of these top first base options here for the evening. Ohtani, Freeman, Olsen, Alonso, Bellinger, your top 5 guys there. I said this morning, I'll just keep saying it again, like just keep playing Matt Olsen. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a run scored last night. Gets Keller here, who's got a 7.49 ERA over his last 6 starts. Olsen at 5,900. Again, just continue to be all in on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I have no problem getting to Olsen. I have no problem. It's tough because I've said the same thing about Freeman, and he hasn't let us down either. You keep talking Olsen, I keep talking Freeman. We're both
one
right,
of them's cheaper,
you know,
so.
I mean, yeah, cheaper, $300. I mean, either one you're breaking the bank for. So, Olsen probably in the slightly better spot. But I do like Freeman against Brandon Pfaadt.
No, I don't think there's a wrong answer there, but I am more towards Matt Olsen here for the fact that he has 16 more home runs. Just the home run potential there for me. Though the last couple times I said Freeman doesn't hit for power, he's homered. So, we'll see what happens there. Moving on down into the mid-tier range. What's your preferred first baseman?
I don't love this range. Like, I would get to Salvi at 42, first base catcher eligible. Ryan Mountcastle against lefty if you do want to play Orioles. John, I'll get you. They're actually getting no ownership. They're like one of like 7 teams that are going to be like 1%.
Yeah. No one's playing the Orioles after Framber just threw a no, but John will have an Orioles lineup tonight.
Carlos Santana, 3,700. Wilmer Flores, continues to be really good.
Jeimer hitting 6 tonight.
Jeimer hitting 6 tonight. Yeah, first
Casas, $3,800 here.
Yeah, it's a really good first base. It's a really good first.
Belt's hitting second again. Anybody else here?
The highest owned first baseman, and this also has to do with also has to do with dual eligibility. It's Jake Bauers.
Okay.
Went over yesterday. I mean, just
he's an average. He's just an average player. He's not like anything special.
Oh, he's for sure. He does have very good numbers against righties. Sure. That's what's driving the numbers now. Tuki Toussaint's numbers have been really good this year. So
did you play Lamonte Wade against Giolito today?
The problem with that is for $500 cheaper, I could just play Wilmer Flores, who, I would.
Again, I don't think Giolito's very good, so I feel like I could get to some Giants tonight.
Lefties have been better against Giolito. Both splits have been bad for him. So, if you want to play Giants, by all means. Over the last 30 days, 351 ISO allowed to lefties, 345 ISO allowed to righties. So, if you want to play Giants.
Yeah, that's kind of, again, for a contrarian little play today, and they're always very cheap. Nobody on the Giants have Estrada that's ever priced up. So, it's kind of where I'm at it for today. Moving on over to second base. We do have the return of Trevor Story in the lineup for the Red Sox here tonight. He's $5,200. Bet, Simeon, Altuve, and Albie is your top guys there as well, over 5K. Thoughts here on the top second baseman, and do you have any interest in Trevor Story, who is mashing down at the AAA level?
Hitting third, too.
I know. At 4 homers at AAA during his rehab stint.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Again, I don't really know what to make of. I was a fan of Brady Singer last year, and then the start of this season for Brady Singer went terribly. But the last 3 starts for Brady Singer have not gone terribly. They have been the best 3 starts in a row, probably.
Cole Reagan's had 11 strikeouts last night.
And Cole Reagan's had 11 strikeouts. So, what is in the water right now in the Boston offense? Does the Pablo Reyes grand slam, you know, I mean, Pablo already the greatest Pablo in Red Sox history, and they signed, and that guy cost $100 million less than the other Pablo that the Red Sox had. So, does that spark the Red Sox? The Story's, I'm probably not going to play Story. Lefties have definitely done more damage against Brady Singer this year than righties have. I take that back. Righties have actually done a fair amount of damage against Brady Singer this year. Was it last year the split? Yeah, last year he no damage against righties. That's interesting. I'm okay with it. Story's a good baseball player who is good at AAA before his call up. If I'm spending up on anyone, probably Ozzy Albies, just considering he just continues to hit home runs against it.
Yep.
Finally starting to hit home runs from both splits.
Yep.
Like we hit a home run from the left side last night, and the ISO just keeps going up.
What's the deal with the Angels here? This says Alexander now. Is Giolito not starting?
That's flip side. Alexander's opening for the
Giants. I'm like, what's happening here? Drury against lefty. Who's opening? Who's the long-term pitcher for them?
Alex Wood. Lefty. They're going lefty.
So are we in on these Angels lefties then?
I don't know, because they also, I don't know. Like, they're an interesting case. They have a 30% strikeout rate against lefties since the break. They also have a 222 ISO, which is, so they have the second highest strikeout rate and the second highest ISO in baseball against left-handed pitching since the break.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing. It's a tournament play. They're a tournament play exclusively.
They never discounted Drury either. After he was gone for like 3 weeks, never touched his price. But
they also look at their prices though. Like Rengifo's been what $3,000, like, and now he's $4,200. Like, what is in the water? Why is everyone so expensive?
To get bumped the way he's been playing.
Sure.
And this would be a great spot if he's leading off again against a lefty. So, Angels, I think Angels are interesting here from an offensive standpoint. On this slate here for sure. Merrifield leading off against Bibby can always continue to ride that man because he's going good here. Let's see. Rengifo is probably the mid-tier option for me. Mm-hmm. What else are you looking at second?
I mean,
Massey again, 2,600.
I mean, he's really cheap, so like you can get to Massey. Cronenworth has been really good of late. If you want to go there, if you're in on Padres, lefties have gotten to Logan Gilbert. You could definitely
Andrews
play
leading off for the White Sox.
He had that insane game the other day where he homered and stole a couple bases, and then had 3 hits. Remember that stretch last year? Remember the Elvis Andrus stretch last year? We're in that right now. But the only problem is, like, dude, righties just, like, don't do anything against Clark Schmidt. Like, they don't. Like, it's all left-handed bats. I'm okay if you want to just punt Elvis Andrus because, you know, second isn't, like, the best position in the world.
Yeah.
I do want to just give a shout-out. You know, Bryce Strang homered and stole base last night. Just going to give him a shout-out just because, you know, he's goated. That's I don't really like second. I'll just go to Massey at 25. I'll just go to Massey at
okay, that's fine. Moving on over then to the third base position here. Again, a lot of top end options on the slate. Riley, Machado, Ramirez, Devers, Muncy, your top guys here. I'm not probably looking to play Gunnar against Framber. Bregman not looking to go there. So maybe Morel against Carrasco. You know, Christopher Morel is one of, 3 players, the homer from each spot in the lineup this year, which is a wild stat. Also goes to show you that the Cubs have no idea what to do with this guy because they've hit him 1 through 9 this season. So
yeah, I guess I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone really knows, right? Because he had like that insane stretch when he was recalled, and then he was like insanely bad, and then ends up being insanely good again. Yeah. Also, I see through you. Phillies are not on the main slate, nor like the DraftKings slate, nor the FanDuel slate. So just keeping that in mind. I don't know.
But if you do find a slate, Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos for sure would be the men to play.
Well, Schwarber just homered, and it's the first game of their doubleheader.
Yeah.
So, like, you're 1-for-1 if you did play Schwarber in, like, a showdown setting.
Right.
I guess maybe I'm sure they have a showdown setting for, not that I looked, but, yeah, not on the main slate, just for
Did
that
Harper
comment there.
start at
And,
first today? Because I need that for my Roto team. He did. Great. Tomorrow we have first base eligibility for Mr. Bryce. All cheers.
And Ryan, we're not ignoring your comment, but we'll talk outfield when we get to outfield. Top third baseman, you could definitely like.
I guess the question
Riley.
is, what's the wrong answer here? Because we know they're all right answers. So who's the guy you're not playing of Riley, Machado, Ramirez, Devers group?
Machado
against Gilbert.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely play Muncy. Would definitely play shares of Devers. Machado, I guess, would be the answer.
Yeah, obviously these guys are all going to fit around your stacks or your one-off plays, and be more likely to play Devers or Riley as a one-off necessarily than Ramirez or Muncy. But in stacks, you get Ramirez and Muncy in lineups. It's probably how I would go about building it here. When you get down into the mid-tier range, again, I like Candelario. I do like Morel down here as well. I think we can take a look at. It's a position that kind of drops off a bit here as we move down for value. Is there a value third baseman that you like tonight?
Maikel Garcia is interesting leading off. Brian Hayes hitting fifth against Chirinos. Chirinos has been bad against both splits. I don't know if we have an Angels lineup yet, but Eduardo Escobar, if he cracks the lineup, is interesting. Sure. That's probably it. I don't think there's anything else that stands out.
There really wasn't a bunch of names that really popped out for me here as I kind of scrolled through the list.
Devers, Garcia, Candelario are getting all the ownership. Nick Madrigal getting some ownership at 2,200. LeMahieu getting some ownership at 3,100. Urias once again, but Urias has dual eligibility, sure. So naturally we'll get more.
Urias for the Red Sox or for the?
Yeah,
he's not
Urias
even playing tonight. So.
Okay, well this needs update. This was pre.
I was just saying their lineup came out. They're playing Reyes, which makes sense. You get a walk-off grand slam, you get to play the next day.
Right.
So
yeah.
Our guy, we're gonna move out to the outfield here in a moment, Doug. We got your questions. Give us a moment here. Thanks for tuning in. Those of you who are new to the show, if you want to give us a little like and sub to the channel, that would be much appreciated here. We'll answer your lineup questions. Gonna hit shortstop now. We'll get the outfield in a moment. We'll finish it off giving you our top stacks, value plays, top plays, home run calls, and we'll build a lineup here to end the show for everybody as well. So stick with us here just a couple more minutes, and we'll get to everybody's questions that are in the chat right now. Shortstop, Seager just continues to be Corey Seager. JB Sears does not worry me. Guy who just gives up home runs to everybody. Seager is awesome. Bobby Witt, feel the same way, even though I am a Cutter Crawford fan. But Bobby Witt has continued to be a real strong DFS play the way he's been running hot of late. So easy top two picks if you're looking to spend up a shortstop tonight.
Yeah. Nothing to really add on either of those guys.
If you had to pick one tonight, where would you
go? Seager. Okay. But that's just my default answer.
Just in general against Oakland, why not, right?
Well, he's also just so good against lefties. Another 2 hits against lefties last night, 270 ISO, 417 WOBA against lefties. Sure. Leads the team in both categories. Okay. So
no arguments. I think anybody against Carrasco is interesting. We haven't talked a lot of Cubs here, but I do like Bellinger. I do like Dansby Swanson here. Carrasco earlier this year, he was getting out lefties, but righties were doing the damage. Now everybody's just kind of back to hitting him, but still, I do like the Cubs here tonight.
Yeah, 260 ISO, 408 WOBA allowed to righties. So
yeah,
even though he's been better, the numbers are still suggesting not so great, Bob.
Yeah, so I think the Cubs could be good. What's the ownership looking like on the Cubs here tonight?
The Cubs are the highest rostered team of the
Well, there you go.
The Cubs, here's in terms of breakdown, Cubs, Red Sox, Yankees are your 3 highest owned teams
Okay.
of the night.
We do have an Angels lineup. I don't know what you were looking for when we talked about Angels, but Rengifo, Otani, Drury, Crone, Moustakis, Grichuk, Renfroe, Moniak, and Wallach in the lineup here this evening.
Yeah, I was looking to see if Eduardo Escobar would make it, but he did not.
Oh.
I like that lineup though. It's a good lineup.
Let's see. I agree with you. I mean, Moniak's a lefty, obviously, but I mean, everything else is a lefty mash. Renfroe hitting 7th for them.
Yep.
Pretty good spot there. Rengifo leading off again at 42, the dual positional eligibility. I feel like I'm going to have some Angels tonight. I'm probably going to get to some Angels in my lineups here this evening. What other shortstops are you feeling?
JP Crawford against Nick Martinez. Nick Martinez has struggled against lefties. JP Crawford now just a casual 378 WOBA against righties because he's been mashing.
Dude, almost 800 OPS in the year for JP Crawford.
It's been like all in the last 2 months, really. But he has been amazing. So 4,100 for Crawford. I like Ezekiel Tovar. He homered last night. That was the first and only run the Freddie Peralta gave up. And for a little guy, he has a ton of pop. Hitting second again tonight against Wade Miley, who does not miss as many bats. You can obviously get to Arcia, always the forgotten guy. Oh, by the way, just hitting 387 with 1,000 OPS over his last 10 games because every time you look at a Brave, they're seemingly doing something incredible. You can play Ezekiel Duran down here. His price decreased $500 from last night. He's $3,200. So there's a lot of interesting value.
The Prince says he likes Lindor, who's been hot lately. Not lying, 432, 1268. Gonna hit lefty against Tyon. Now it hasn't historically been the right split side for Lindor, but any interest here? I mean, again, strong stretch of double-digit scoring games here, stretching 5 games.
Yeah, I've been like if you look at his career, he's been good during the summer. Like some players, again, he's just one of those dudes who gets better as the weather gets hotter. He's just more comfortable hitting that way. And numbers against righties are pretty good. 217 ISO is really good. 353 WOBA, really good. Third, tied for second in ISO and third in terms of WOBA on the Mets. So, I could get to Lindor. Honestly, the Mets will be very low owned against Tyon, who allows a lot of fly balls. Alonso double-donged last night. They scored a whole bunch of runs last night, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are going back to the Mets. So, yeah, I mean, you can get to Lindor at low ownership. They have a 4.7 implied team total.
Right.
That's top half of the slate today.
Yep. All right, let's move on over to outfield here, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it all because a lot of questions here pertaining to the outfield. We had earlier on, Ryan wanted to know about Straczynski here. Too cheap for his power. I agree with you. He's priced down here. I saw him earlier. Where is he now? Right here. $3,400 against Trinos. Hitting cleanup. We know the power is legit. Doug in our chat here want to know Ozuna or Outman tonight. If you had to pick one, James.
I mean, I see that he's mentioning like the no Braves or bets. I don't think that that's not necessarily correlating Outman and bets, so I don't think that part matters so much. Probably Ozuna would be my answer.
Yeah, again, I'm down to go against Keller with everybody here. And then Mark mentions that they have a story releasing 9th tonight. He'll steal a base from there too. It doesn't really matter. It's just all I mean is
he doesn't hit righties.
No, he's got to deal with Scherzer anyway, so it's not like we're looking to go there. Any other questions, guys? Again, feel free to throw them in chat. More than happy to answer them and talk through some lineup builds with you all. At the top of the outfield, we know the usual suspects are all up here. Acuna's fantasy point prop today on PrizePicks was like 12.5. It was like something of you like never see anything that high. So it's usually 8.5. That's just what they think of this player, and it's Keller who's been terrible. So if you can get to him at 66, like, sure, 100%. Feel the same thing about Mookie Betts. If you get the Mookie Betts at 64, like 100, sure. It's not a lefty, but fought, Betts. I'd rather Betts there in that matchup as my top two guys. Then I go down and I get to the Houston, Tucker and a Jordan. I'm not going to shy away because of Grayson Rodriguez. So.
No, and you shouldn't, because Leff had plenty of success against Grayson Rodriguez. I know he's obviously looked a lot better in his last 3 starts. He's was the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball. He is a dude. He throws 100 miles an hour. Everything moves crazy, but he still had a lot of issues against left-handed bats. So don't shy away from him. I'm going to throw Aaron Judge into that mix too. I like everyone you mentioned. Acuna's hitting 500 essentially in his last 10 games with an 0 for 5 yesterday. That's just how good he's been. Right. And Mookie Betts is obviously incredible, and you could throw Soto and Tatis and all these guys into the mix too. But Judge, one of the highest rostered bats tonight. And you look at Touki Toussaint, we're getting very lucky here. He has almost a 6 walk per 9 for Touki Toussaint this year.
Yeah.
He has a 76% left on base, a 221 BABIP. His 392 ERA is a full run lower than his FIP and his xFIP. He is getting a lot of ground balls, but he's giving up a lot of hard contact. There's a lot to dislike about Touki Toussaint. It's a really good hitter's environment in Chicago. Which is a little scary on the flip side for Clark Schmidt as well. But I would throw Judge into that mix as well. Looked good at the plate yesterday. Has started to look a little better at the plate. Obviously, we're going to miss out on some of the stolen base upside that Judge has shown in the past. He stole 20 bases last year. That's done with the toe injury. At least I think it's done, but there's double down potential for Judge tonight. And is he my number 1 outfielder? No, but he's damn close.
Sure. Do you have a Giants line coming in? Wade, Jock Peterson, Wilmer, Conforto, Davis, Sabal. You have Estrada hitting at the bottom of their lineup here. He's hitting 7th, Crawford 8th, and Pollock 9th tonight against Giolito, right? Is that what they're going up against? So something to key in on there with the Giants lineup here. Moving on down into the mid-tier range, what names are you looking to target? I like the Boston guys personally down here. Going with a guy like Yoshida, Duran at 47, 45. I will be playing a Baltimore lineup tonight. So Santander in the lineup, $4,400. I do think that's also an appealing price point for him.
Yeah, again, nobody plays Baltimore more. So if you guys have kept up with the stream, or if you're first-time listeners, when John tells you to play low in Baltimore, usually
I'm trying to think if it's not worked, right? If the 1% Baltimore calls, has there been a spot where it didn't come through? We played them against Freed, it worked out. We played them recently at 1% and it came through against who was it there?
It worked a lot. Well, a lot.
I think it was Rue, right?
They scored 13 runs in Toronto.
Yeah, I think it was the Rue game, and nobody played them again, and we just smoked them. So again, it's a risky play, but Framber was getting rocked before his no-no. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where we go there.
Other guys, Brian Reynolds. We talked about it last night on the podcast. He's been really good lately, and Chirinos doesn't miss bats. For the acquisition the Braves made, this is probably not what they needed at the deadline in terms of starting pitching, because they do need a starting pitcher. Reynolds does have good numbers against right-handed pitching, and Chirinos does not miss bats. So I would get there. You mentioned Conforto and Jock Peterson, 43, 44 respectively.
Price, Michael Harris might be my favorite player of the slate.
At 4K.
4K
he's one
against Keller here?
Yeah, he's been incredible. The one problem with I would have saying that would be he hits 9th. That would be the one downside. he hits ninth. Like there's just
Yeah, but we've learned that doesn't matter anymore. He still gets 4
it,
ABs.
it,
He hits in front of
it
Acuna.
sure,
He's
but
not hitting
like
ninth to the Royals, sitting ninth to the Braves. So
I know, but like for let's see, like $600 more, Ian Happ in a great spot is hitting
well,
third.
$600 is a lot of money, though.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
I guess.
Per at the price point, he might be my favorite play of the slate.
Okay, that's okay. I like I no problem getting to Michael Harris. I'm just not going to say he's my favorite play of the
Okay.
slate or per like my favorite per dollar play because he's hitting ninth.
He's hitting what?
Ninth.
Yeah,
Ninth.
I hear you. I'm just confused as to why that's an issue now.
It's not necessarily an issue for like stacking, and it's not, but like I wouldn't call him my. I think that
Okay.
just naturally caps him. Like he's hitting ninth.
Okay. I see three people throw some value names out here: Weimer, Biggio, and Canzone. We definitely like Joey Weimer against a lefty. Really cheap play down here. What is he down like 2,200 or something like that? I think we saw earlier.
He's always free.
Like super cheap.
He's 2,200.
Yeah, $2,200. Joey Weimer against Freeland. I'm in. I'm a Biggio stan, so that's fine as well.
Homered yesterday.
Yeah, homered, and then Canzoni. Yeah, that's fine if you want to go there for some value. Works. Doug wants to know who our top 3 Cubs are: Bellinger, Bellinger, Swanson, and what? Candelario? Probably today.
Yeah.
You
Happ
mentioned
and
Happ,
Happ is close. Happ is close. Probably the other 3. And if you need savings, Happ is the best value.
Yeah, I like Candelario a lot and Swanson tonight. You could probably go around that group here. Any other plays here? We got a couple minutes left. We'll give our stacks and our lineup builds. Where else are you looking at the outfield tonight?
If you're playing end of lineup Braves stack, like Osuna, Rosario, Harris are all like correlated.
Renfro's down here at $3,800.
Yeah, Renfro is really cheap if you're playing Angels. If you're playing Rangers, Tavares is down here. Duran is dual position eligible. You have Tommy Pham at 3,200. He gets a lefty. He had 2 stolen bases off Dallas Keuchel the other day. 14 fantasy points without a hit because he just stole a whole bunch of bases. Interesting. I think this is an interesting one. Tyrone Taylor hitting 4th tonight.
Okay.
He's $2,900. He's hit lefties well. He's homered in 2 of 3. All he does is like hit home runs. And I think this is a little bit of an interesting part of why Milwaukee's been better against lefties lately, or at least like serviceable, is because they've been able to insert Tyrone Taylor. So he could go for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He could go 1 for 4 with a home run.
Right. The fact that he's saying cleanup is super appealing. So
yeah.
Melendez had a good night again last night too. 3 hits against Boston if you're going Royals here. So all right, let's get to it. Give me your home run call tonight.
I'm gonna go Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge for your home run. I'm gonna go with. I might as well just stick with it here. Matt Olson for me. Just knock on Keller here. Will be my home run call. What's your top stack?
Atlanta.
Yeah,
it's
Atlanta. The Cubs, I think today against Keller and in Carrasco. Value stack for you.
I think it's going back to Milwaukee, right? Like they've been freaking good. San Francisco is interesting, but I'll go Milwaukee.
Yeah, I like that. Baltimore. I think contrarian or value, however you want to label it. For me tonight, my pool will be the Angels, will be the Giants, it'll be the O's, and then the Brewers probably fit in there again. I'll make a handful of lineups and kind of pivot around to that grouping there. So it's where I'm looking to go. Anybody, what's your value play today?
Value play of the day, Joey Weimer.
It's a good one.
$2,200.
Weimer's a good one. I'll stick with. Do you think 4K is value? If not, I'll stick with Michael Harris. I said price per dollar.
Yeah, that's fine. All
right, let's build a lineup here. Got a couple of minutes left here. Thoughts on our guy? We going Scherzer, I imagine.
Yeah, Scherzer.
The Prince favorite pitcher on FanDuel. I think it's got to be Max today against Oakland.
Max, yeah, same.
Schmidt or Kikuchi?
Kikuchi probably.
Okay. So you're gonna go the other way. Catcher. Garver.
Hunt.
Punter Garver.
Yeah,
Connor Wong.
Garver. Goner. Yeah, Goner.
All right.
Wong or Garver. Yeah.
Okay, let's go Wong now, and if we have money, we'll move. We'll move up. First base.
We can. I mean, if we want to spend up an Olsen, I plugged Weimer in the outfield.
Okay.
That's going to provide us with a boatload of
Weimer works.
of value.
Okay. Where was our other value on this slate that we liked? You liked Hap. I'm fine going Hap at 34. And can we fit Judge, you think, or no?
I don't know. I just don't know looking at some infield value. It's like Michael Garcia is interesting in the infield, but like I'm even just like looking through ownership here, and it doesn't make any sense. But like everyone is all these like I don't know where the value is coming from. Jake Bauers. That's why everyone's playing Jake Bauers tonight, because I think he's providing value. Michael Garcia is a popular value. Dansby Swanson at shortstop. We can go to.
What do you think about this build here? Let's see. Would you rather Judge probably or Riley? My thing is there's not a lot of third base.
Yeah, we can play Riley. That's fine.
I guess there's a $4,500 outfielder here.
$4,500 outfield.
Or we could
Ryan
go up.
Reynolds. Michael Harris. You go to Michael Harris.
Yeah, let's see if we do Harris, and then can we get the Garver? Nope, we can't get the Garver. So this Carantini or Connor Wong?
Carantini is, I guess, a little better he's hitting 7th, right? And that's
next to our
Weimer's hitting 6th.
Yeah.
Well, we have Weimer too, so it would be a Weimer Carantini 6-7.
And the fact that Castillo is DHing means we probably don't lose Carantini catching tonight. So
yep.
All right, so that's just an example lineup that we got for everybody here this evening. Again, we're going to be in the Discord, so if you're not yet a Fantasy Alarm member, go to fantasyalarm.com/allpro, sign up, become an all-pro member, get a 7-day free trial, get access to our premium Discord, get access to all of our premium content on site as well. You can also go ahead and get the free Fantasy Alarm draft guide. When you become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, you get that draft guide for free. So go check out everything we got going on the site here today. James and I will be back tomorrow. Good luck tonight, everybody.